Welcome to another edition of Smartboard Tuesdays. I'm Jeff Seville, CEI's Executive Director. I'm here again with our Mentor of the Year, Ron Kisicki, and he's backed by popular demand. And today we're going to talk about trademarks.
Basically, a trademark must be distinctive. What do I mean by that? The trademark itself has to convey to a consumer either the source of the goods or the quality of the goods. It should not convey to the consumer immediately what goods or services are being sold under the mark. There are many types of marks that you can have or register. Obviously, there's the word mark first. There's also a logo mark. You can combine a word and logo. You can have that. You can also have a sound mark. Now, a sound mark might be like the NBC chimes is an example of a registered sound mark. You can also register smell. In one case, there's a racing oil that has a registration for the smell of cherries. You don't have to register a trademark, but there's certain advantages of registering. One advantage is that you can put the R in a circle to tell everybody that it is registered. Another advantage is that within 5 years you can do something to make the mark incontestable so that it's much more difficult to challenge. As I indicate here, there's a spectrum in which your mark might fall. The highest level regarded as far as a registration might be concerned might be a fanciful mark. And that mark would be something that the word means nothing at all in the English language. An example of that would be, for example, Kodak or Xerox. The level down is an arbitrary mark. That would be a mark that has meaning in the English language, but it doesn't make sense with respect to the product it's being used with. Example of that might be Apple, for Apple computers. The third level, as we march down, is a suggestive mark. And that mark is a mark that sort of suggests what the product or service is, but not necessarily. It requires some thought in which the consumer would have to give in order to link it to the product or service sold. Suggestive mark might be Citibank. As far as a marketer is concerned, this is the level a marketer should shoot for. Descriptive is the final in the hierarchy, and that's a mark that is exactly connotes the product or services being sold under the mark. If the trademark office designates or determines that the mark you're seeking to register is descriptive, it'll go on a supplemental register, and you're going to have to, as a user of the mark, you're going to have to demonstrate to the trademark office that it has acquired a level of secondary meaning. I also have generic. Generic is a category of mark that is not, it cannot be a trademark. An example of one that almost became generic is Xerox. Now, in the case of Xerox, they did some work in their marketing department a few years ago to make sure that it was being used in the marketplace as properly as a trademark. They advertised that it was a Xerox brand copier as opposed to a Xerox machine.
So when you hear people say, I'm going to Google that, do they run the risk of it becoming generic?
Yes, yeah. Google, although that is a service, if it becomes a household word to describe any type of a search engine, use of a search engine, it could become generic.
Mm-hmm. So what does it look like if I have to defend my trademark? So somebody's infringing upon my trademark, what does that look like?
You should do what's called policing the mark. You should be very vigilant about watching in the marketplace who might be using
your mark.
The mark. And if you discover someone is using the mark in a way that's very similar to the way you're using the marks, you need to contact them with a cease and desist letter advising them that they're using a mark that you regard as a trademark. Now, if you don't do that, you weaken your mark. So if you let the little guy go and a while down the road a bigger guy uses it, you try to go after that person for using it, they may use the defense that you didn't go after the little guy, you're coming after me, therefore your mark is weak, and it sounds like you're accepting.
Then the games begin.
Yes.
Well, great advice here, Ron. I really, really appreciate it. Go ahead and give your firm a plug.
I'm with Woods Oviatt. My telephone number is 602-633-1793. Give me a call at any time if you have any questions about trademarks or what I might have talked about today. Thank you.
Well, there you have it, another fine episode of Smartboard Tuesday. I'm going to go ahead and give the board a scan, and we'll go ahead and take this image and put it up with this video listing, and we'll see you next time.